Land?
The hairiest creature?
Oh, hi!
Hi!
We're thinking of the very, very hairiest creature in all Hairy Land.
If you can think of one, let me know.
Quiff, have you given up already?
No. Playing the guitar helps me think.
Shall I tell you what I think is the hairiest creature in Hairy Land?
Go on then.
It's the one and only Hairy Hoglet!
Oh, of course, the hairy hoglet. You can't get much hairier than a hairy hoglet.
And we know a very hairy story all about one. It all started one day at the Ha Ha Hairies' house.
Ma and Pa Ha Ha had a surprise for Minnie. We were hiding in the flower bed.
I can't wait to see what it is. Oh, what is it? What is it?
Shush.
And Minnie's surprise was this.
A hairy hoglet.
Minnie had always wanted a hairy hoglet.
Oh.
Oh, it's so cute.
Minnie couldn't believe how lucky she was. She thanked Pa and Ma. Yes, this was the day a hairy hoglet came to stay. Ma gave Minnie a special comb so that she could comb the hairy hoglet's hair.
Minnie was as happy as a Ha Ha Hairy could be.
But up on the hill at Chateau Shampoo, someone felt blue. Can you guess who? Boris Boo-hoo, what's he gonna do? Nobody was buying his shampoo, so he had no money. This made him very cross.
Boris needed to make a brand new shampoo. A shampoo that would make him rich.
He picked up his hairy stary and looked around for ideas. He saw the hairy hoglet.
Lots of children had hairy hoglets in Hairy Land. He had an idea. He could make hairy hoglet shampoo.
It's true,
It's true,
hairy hoglets need shampoo. They do,
they do.
and here's one just for you. So don't forget your hairy pet and buy some from Boris Boo.
First, Boris Boohoo chose some hairy hoglet shampoo ingredients.
Hairy berries, hairy hedge nuts,
Picky currants.
and a bunch of hairy nanas.
Then he chose a special shampoo bottle. Now all he needed was a photo of the hairy hoglet to go on the label.
But to get a photo of the hairy hoglet, he needed a plan.
Boris needs a plan, he needs a plan as quick as he can.
He needs a plan, he needs it quick.
He needs to plan a clever trick.
What'll it be?
What'll it be?
What'll it be?
The plan was this.
Boris made a little setting for his photo and he picked up his camera.
Everything was ready. All he wanted now was...
Minnie's hairy hoglet. He was far too lazy to go and find one of his own.
Back in the Ha Ha Hairies' garden, Minnie Ha Ha had just finished combing the hairy hoglet's hair when Boris tippy-toed in.
And hid behind the Fluffer-Puffer-Poop. Oh, Nits! It's Boris Boohoo! What's he doing here?
Dunno, but it always means trouble.
Suddenly, the hairy hoglet let out a little squeak.
A little squeak that meant, I'm hungry.
So Minnie went to the kitchen to find the hairy hoglet some food.
This was Boris Boohoo's chance. He tippy-toed forward. He was going to pick up the hairy hoglet.
But he can't do that.
I think he's just borrowing him.
Oh, but you've got to ask if you want to borrow.
Whack!
But just then, we heard...
arrived.
And Minnie came back into the garden with a bowl of food. She couldn't wait to show Nana the hairy Hoglet. But the hairy Hoglet had gone!
Ma and Pa rushed out to see what was the matter. They thought he must have run away. So they started to look for him.
Only we knew where the hairy Hoglet had gone.
And we decided to go to Chateau Shampoo to make sure he was okay.
Papa Picky, Papa Picky, Papa Picky, 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 Papa me round hairy land.
Round hairy land.
I am Quick.
And I am Wiggy.
With a hairy fairy band.
And the hairy Hoglet was fine. Whew.
Boris Boohoo was ready to take his photo.
But he'd forgotten where he'd put his camera.
He told the hairy Hoglet to stay right there. He'd be back.
Run, Hoglet, run!
Shush, Wiggy.
In no time, the hairy Hoglet was out of his basket.
Yay!
And he'd found all the food.
Then, very quickly, he ran out of the factory.
And just in time, because Boris came back with the camera.
He was all ready to take the picture. But
The hairy Hoglet had gone!
Boris went into a panic. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it?
He couldn't see the hairy Hoglet anywhere, but he could see where it had been. The hungry hairy Hoglet had eaten all the hickey currants and left a trail of juice.
Boo!
He'd eaten all the hairy berries and spat out the seeds.
And out in the garden, he'd crunched the hairy hedge nuts and left the shells.
And munched the hairy nana and left the skin.
Boris didn't see it, and then this happened.
Boris was in the pond.
Not only had the hairy Hoglet run away, he'd eaten all the shampoo ingredients. Boise heard Boris and came running.
All this time, the Ha Ha Hairies had been looking for the hairy Hoglet.
Poor Minnie was upset. The hairy Hoglet must be so hungry by now. What could they do?
Then Pa had an idea.
Maybe Minnie should ask for Boise's help up at Chateau Shampoo. So off ran Minnie as fast as she could all the way to Chateau Shampoo.
Boise was helping his dad out of the pond. Boris was very cross and very wet. Just then, Boise spotted something in the bushes. Something very hairy. What could it be?
Yes! Boise had found the hairy Hoglet.
Yay! Boris was so excited he leapt out of the pond. He was just about to get his hands on the Hoglet when guess who came along? Bye-bye!
Minnie Ha Ha! Minnie Ha Ha was so happy to see Boise. Oh, and even happier to see the hairy Hoglet.
Boise had found her Hoglet. He was her hero.
Off they went, leaving Boris Boohoo with no photo and no new hairy Hoglet shampoo.
Boo!
The Ha Ha Hairies were so happy to see the hairy Hoglet home, safe and sound.
Minnie offered him hickey currants, but he didn't want them. Hairy berries, but he didn't want them. Hairy hedge nuts, but he didn't want them. And even a piece of hairy nana.
For some reason, he wasn't at all hungry.
If only Boris had asked, I'm sure Minnie would have let him take a photo of the hairy Hoglet.
Of course she would. I mean, you'd let me take a photo of you, wouldn't you?
I guess so, but...
Right, let's get snapping then. OK, Quiff, pick up your guitar and...
Wiggy?
Oh, that's it. No, turn around a bit. Face me.
Wiggy!
Now smile. Bigger smile than that.
Wiggy!
Oh, come on.
You haven't got a camera!